Okay, welcome back.
Welcome.
Okay, I'll share the screen. We stopped at
Number 7.
Start over. Number 7, the learner's
Inductive way.
approach, notice the pattern, and work out the rule for themselves before they practice the language. So, as you said, Miss Noha, it's
Inductive way.
Inductive.
yes, Mana.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's inductive. Yes. Number 8, the learner is more active in the learning process.
Inductive.
Inductive.
Inductive way.
Exactly, yes. Because the students themselves work out the rules and the meaning. Okay. It can be more time and energy consuming, not only for the teacher, the students. So what do you think?
Inductive.
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 Yes, inductive, yeah. So the point here is
Inductive, sure.
each approach has advantages and disadvantages. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's up to you to use inductive or deductive approach or both of them. You can use both of them in the same lesson. So it's up to you. You can, while using the form, you use the deductive approach, but while you teaching the meaning, you use inductive approach. So it's up to you. Both of them have advantages and disadvantages. So I can't say that deductive way is the best and inductive way is the best. No. So can you tell me which one you like best, or which one do you always use in your classroom?
Inductive.
Inductive. Okay. Why, Raghda? Can you tell me why? Why do you
Inductive.
why? Why do
I think because the curriculum itself, I'm working out with a curriculum which typically use this way.
yes.
In the book itself, they are going to read more than one example, then they are extract or guess the key structure by themselves. So
Yeah, so
the book itself or the curriculum help us to use this way.
yes. So the presentation of grammar in your syllabus or curriculum uses the inductive approach to teaching grammar.
Yes, because it depends a lot on teaching through reading texts and through pictures.
Yeah.
Students are going to look at some pictures and they try to get the difference between the two pictures. If we are going to compare between the past and the present perfect, so the students are involved in the directly in the curriculum.
Yes, exactly. So the curriculum itself encourages that. Yeah, and I know
Yes.
which curriculum she is talking about, because we work in the same school. She talked about a curriculum called English World, and yes, exactly. The textbook itself encourages the teacher to use inductive way, and
Yes.
it's helpful for the teacher, for the students themselves. Yes, thank you, Raghda. And here, Manar, she said inductive is better for her because it encourages students to be active, and the students won't forget the rule. Yes, because when students themselves work out the rule or find out the rule or the meaning, it will be memorable. Yes, exactly, I agree. Yes, okay. Here we will talk about effective presentation. So whatever the approach or the way I decided to teach grammar in my classroom to my students, I have to put certain elements in my mind to make it effective. Okay. Number one, use a context. it's supposed not to put examples 1, 2, 3, 4. For example, number 1, I am playing football. Number 2, he is playing football. Number 3, we are playing football. So it's supposed to have a context. It can be a short paragraph, can be a dialogue, can be a picture. For example, a group of children in a picture. I ask, what are they doing now? So look at this boy, he is playing football. Okay, so try to use a context while teaching grammar. And this context, it's up to you. It can be in the textbook itself, like in Connect and Connect Plus. We have in each unit, we have a listening lesson at the very beginning. It's a conversation or a dialogue between two people or more. And through this lesson, we can find the grammar structure or the grammar item. So I can use it to identify the grammar item or grammar structure. I can use the textbook as a context, okay? So we don't have every time to prepare a context outside the textbooks. We can use the textbooks themselves, okay? So here we have to use a context. Students, the teacher can set up a situation in which students can notice the grammar structure or the grammar item. And this context, you choose that. It can be a dialogue, conversation, a short story, a picture, like you said, Raghda, to compare between two pictures. This is a context, okay? This is number 1. Number 2, using techniques to help students notice, to see. I can notice that my teacher add is here. He or she doesn't add is here. So the students themselves can notice while teaching or during the presentation, your presentation, the learners can notice the most important feature of the grammar item or grammar structure. Like diagrams, I can draw diagrams of the grammar structure, okay? Can be circles, square, I use arrows, okay? So I can draw diagram on the board. Different colors. Imagine that you have a text and you will color the verbs, you will write the verbs, the regular verbs in the past in red and the irregular in blue, okay? So here the students can notice which verbs are regular and which verbs are irregular. So different colors. You can write the irregular verbs bold, okay? If you don't have colors, okay? So try to make it special for students to easily notice, okay? And timeline, it's really useful while teaching tenses, okay? So if I wanted to teach past simple and future, or present and future, present perfect and past simple. So you can use the timeline, draw it on the board, and to visualize the grammar structure, okay? So once I visualize the grammar structure or the features of the grammar structure, I think it will be memorable for my learners. Make it easy, okay? Number 3, students are actively engaged. And here I'm still talking about the presentation, not the practice. How can I engage my students in the presentation while I'm teaching grammar item? It's supposed to get my students engaged and involved. So I can ask them questions. Is it true or false? What do you think? Is he playing football now? Does he finish playing football? Okay. So while asking such questions, I can make them focused, engaged, and involved in the presentation. I'm talking here about the presentation. Number 4, explanation. Of course, especially I teach young learners. My explanation should be clear, simple, memorable. As I said, I can use pictures, graphs, diagrams, drawings on the board, charts.
Acting sometimes.
Acting, yes, body language, yes, that's right, Raghda. So when I visualize what I'm teaching, it's supposed to be more memorable and easy for my students. So these features of presentation can make grammar or teaching grammar easy for my students. So using a context, it's really effective. Number 2, techniques to help students remember and notice the features of the grammar item. Number 3, you can motivate your students to be engaged and involved in the presentation. So don't let them just sit and listen, because they want to focus much time, okay? They want to be focused with you. If they just sit and listen, try to involve them in the presentation. And the last time, explanation, and I'm sure you, all of us do our best to make it simple and clear for our learners. This is the effective presentation, okay? Any questions here?
No, that's so clear.
Okay, thank you, Alia. Okay, so if you have any question, you can type it in the chat box. Okay, so let's move to the next one, presentation components. Okay, Noha, thank you. Exposure. Of course, I have to expose students to the target structure. As we said, using a context. It's supposed to use a context, and this will help them expose to a context. It means I can see, I can hear, okay? I can read the grammar structure in a context, okay? So this is exposure. Students can see the grammar structure, can hear the grammar structure. I can ask them to listen to a listening track, a dialogue, not only written form. It can be listening dialogue, okay? And they can read, okay? So this is exposure, different ways. Explanation, as you like, you can use deductive way or inductive way. And engagement, you think that how can I engage my students in the presentation? Okay, it's very important to expose my students to the grammar structure, to explain it clearly. Can be deductive or inductive, it's up to you. And number 3, to engage your students. Don't let them just sit and listen. They have to be engaged and involved. This will make it easy and memorable for them. This is presentation components, okay? Because if you remember, we always say the presentation, practice, production, BBB. This is a traditional way to teach. But what about the presentation itself? It's supposed to focus on this part, because after that, students can easily do activities, okay? So if I expose students to the grammar item in many or more than one time, it will be easy for them. If I explain it easily for my students in a way that's suitable for them, deductive or inductive, it's up to you what is suitable for my students' level. And number 3, to engage them in the presentation. It's a very important point, to engage them in the presentation and teach grammar, okay? Okay. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, if you have any questions. Okay. Okay, so let's move to the grammar practice, because most of you said we want to know more about grammar practice activities. Today we will talk about grammar practice activity, what is the importance of grammar practice activity, and types of grammar practice activities. Okay, what do you think about the grammar practice activity? Why grammar practice activities are important? What do you think? What is the importance of grammar practice activities?
It's very important to make sure that the students understood the key structure or the grammar pattern.
Yeah, that's right. I check that whether
Yes,
they
exactly.
understand or not. Yes.
We check through the practice time that the students understood the key structure or the grammar pattern.
Exactly, yes. So I can check, I can make sure that our students can understand the grammar structure or grammar item. Yes, to convey my explanation to students. Yes, I check that my students got my explanation or not. Could I convey the message or not? Yes. Okay. In fact, we do, as you said, we do grammar practice activities with our students. Number one, to improve their accuracy. Here I'm talking about the form. Okay, so they can form the present simple, the past simple, the present perfect, the future, passive, direct, indirect. So here I make sure that my students can form the grammar structure or the grammar item. So the grammar practice activity improves their accuracy. Okay. Number two, improve their fluency. They can speak, the productive skills. They can speak and write without pauses. So if I want to ask them to speak about their daily routine, so they begin to speak without pauses. So here he is improving the fluency. Okay, write about your weekend. So he used the past to write about the weekend. So here we use a grammar practice activity to improve his fluency. Not only speaking, but writing. Speaking and writing without pauses. Okay, and number three, to practice the grammar item, to integrate what they have already learned into the new knowledge. Okay, for example, I want to, we taught or we learned the future, well plus the main verb. So now tell me about your dreams. What do you want, for example, to be in the future? So I give him a topic to speak or to write. Here he will integrate what they have already learned about the future and use it in this activity. And we can do that to integrate what they have already learned into the new grammar item or new knowledge while doing free activities. This is what we will talk later, inshallah. Okay, so again, I can improve accuracy. This is all about the form. I can improve fluency, not only speaking and writing, and I can do free activities to help them integrate what they have already learned before and the new knowledge they are practicing. Okay, this can be done in the free practice activity. And as you said, to check that they get the explanation, they can understand my explanation, and as Raghda said, they can use the grammar structure they have already learned. Okay, so this is the role of grammar practice activity. Okay, let's talk about the activities itself. Types of grammar activities. What do you think about types of grammar activities? What are the types of grammar activities?
I think that we can have pre-activities and post-activities, for example.
Yeah,
before teaching the new grammar, and after, or in the presentation time and in the break time.
Yes, Raghda, we talk about the practice time itself. So you talk about the presentation and the practice. So we have presentation. This is what we have already talked about. Now we will talk about the practice time. We have certain types of grammar activities. Here we talk about the grammar activities. We have types of
practice time.
Yes, in the practice time. So what do you think? What are the types of grammar activities? What do you think?
As you said before, that we can integrate the key structure with the other topics.
Yes.
Such as we integrated the key structure of future tense with their dream job. So this is a type of practice of grammar activities in the practice time.
Yeah, that's right. This is what I said, integrating what they have already learned into the new knowledge. Some
Yes.
people knew that they have just learned it. I wanted to integrate what they have already learned before with this grammar item. And I said I can do that with 3 grammar practice activity. This is the first type of grammar practice activity. 3 practice activities. We have other 2. Can you guess?
Direct,
No, not direct.
direct,
No, not direct. We have 3.
free, yes.
Yeah, number 3. I can't begin, by the way, with 3 practice activities. It's supposed to.
Controlled,
Yes. Who said controlled?
controlled activities.
Yeah, that's right. Number 1, controlled practice activity. Number 2, we have just 1. So we have number 1, controlled. Number 3, free.
Mix it, mix it,
Not fix it. It's guided.
mix it.
Guided.
Guided, yes, yes.
Exactly.
I can't get this word.
Yeah. I
Yes,
know.
guided practice.
Yeah, I know you. I'm sure you know, but you just forget. Okay, so we have
أنا
control.
مش قادرة أجمع الاسم بس أنا فاهمة إن أنت بتتكلمي في 3 dimensions أو 3 أنواع، إن هم 2 عكس بعض، controlled و free وواحدة ما بينهم.
Yes, exactly. Okay. In the very beginning, we talked about the dimensions of grammar, form, meaning, and use. And we said one of them or all of them can be a challenge for our students. So according to this, we decided the grammar practice activities. For example, if I have a problem with the form, not me, if my students have a problem with the form, I feel that they don't master the form of the present perfect, the form of present simple. So I have to practice controlled grammar practice activities. They have to do more controlled activities. Okay, again, if they have a problem with the form, they have to do more controlled practice activity to master the form. Okay, if they have a challenge or a problem with the meaning, it's supposed to do guided practice activity. If they have a challenge or a problem with the use, so it's supposed to have free practice activity. Okay, so if you remember at the very beginning, it's supposed to ask myself, what is the challenge for my students? We have 3 components: form, meaning, and use. So I ask myself, what is the challenge here? If it is the form, use controlled practice activity. And we will have some examples now. If it is the meaning, use guided practice activities. If it is the use free practice activities, okay? So these are the types of grammar activities. It's supposed to start with controlled practice activity, then guided, then free. It's difficult for students to start with free. But if you feel that your students master the form and they got the meaning, it's easy for them to work out the meaning. It's okay to give them free practice activity. So don't jump to free practice activity. It's supposed to make to do them into order. Okay, so controlled practice activity, it's all about the form. Guided practice activity help with meaning, and the free practice activity help with use. Okay, so let's start with the control. What do you think about controlled? What do you think the nature of controlled practice activity? What do you think about these activities? Can you guess? I say that it's all about the form and the accuracy. If I want to improve the accuracy and help my students to master the form, it's supposed to do controlled practice activities. So what do you think about these activities?
I think it must be written.
Written, okay.
And the teacher is the helper and facilitator for the students.
Exactly. They can't do these activities alone. It's supposed the students choose everything in the activity. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that it's like a quiz or a short exam or something written too, and the teacher must check their work.
Of course, yes. The teacher must be there. They can't work
Yes.
alone. Yes, okay. So controlled activities give students repeated practice in accuracy and the form. Okay, allow students to make a few mistakes because the teacher all of the time correct their mistakes because the focus here is accuracy. Okay, and typically the controlled practice activity include repetition and drills. Okay, so if I say, repeat after me, he is playing football. He is playing football. Here, I'm focusing on the form. Okay, I ask my students to focus on the accuracy. He is, not he are. We are, not we is. So here the teacher depend on repetition and the drills to improve the accuracy and make our help students to master the form. Okay, so the focus here is the form and accuracy. Okay, we have some examples here. We have 4 examples of controlled practice activities. Number 1, repeat in the manner of the word. The teacher asks students to repeat sentences. These sentences have the target structure. They can repeat the sentences in different ways: happily, sadly, quickly, slowly, softly, loudly. Okay, so in different ways, the students repeat the sentences that have the target language or the target grammar structure. So this is repeat in the manner of the word. Repeat in the manner of the word. Repetition again improves the accuracy. Okay. Number 2, disappearing dialogue or vanishing dialogue. Remember this activity? I think we talked about it before, if you remember. Disappearing dialogue or vanishing dialogue. Can you remember it? Okay, it's suppose the teacher write on the board a dialogue and give students time to practice it. For example, in pairs. Okay, after practicing the dialogue, the teacher start to delete words or phrases from the dialogue and give students another chance to practice it. After this, he delete more words and more phrases and give students a chance to practice the dialogue. He repeated these procedures until all the dialogue has gone. Okay, so here the text itself is written by the teacher and the students have to practice what is written. The teacher, yes, deletes some words and some phrases in turn, but at the end, the students are supposed to practice the dialogue that is written. Okay, that is written by the teacher. So it's a controlled activity. Students can't change the dialogue. Okay, so students here practice written dialogue. The teacher writes a dialogue on the board. He starts to delete some words and phrases one by one. At the end, the students have a chance to practice the dialogue, but the last time it's not written on the board. The dialogue is not written on the board, okay? But they have to practice the same dialogue which was written, okay? So this is controlled activity. So students don't have a choice or opportunity to change the dialogue, okay? This is number 2. Let's move to number 3. Running dictation. Remember, we did this activity together in NTTP program.
Yes.
I'm not sure you still remember that or not. Running dictation, it's supposed to have a text on a piece of paper, or you can write it or type it on a piece of paper. You can have just one copy at the front of the classroom, but it's better to have more than one copy. For example, 2 copies in the front and 2 copies at the back. Okay, divide your students into groups, 4 groups, for example, and one from each group go to the text, read a sentence, and go back dedicate this sentence to his or her group. Okay, so each time go to the text and say just one sentence each time to the group, and of course the faster group is the winner. So each time the students run to the board or at the end of the classroom to the text, just read one sentence and tell the group, his group or her group, this sentence. The first group that finishes faster is the winner. This is running dictation. Of course, the text has examples of the target language. For example, I'm teaching present continuous. So this tickets, it's all about the present continuous. Okay, so I can use running dictation to practice grammar in a controlled way, because the teacher is writes the text that include the target grammar or structure. Okay, this is running dictation. Another one, dictogloss or grammar dictation. Here you will read a short text that has a grammar item or grammar structure. Students listen and write keywords and phrases. After that, they can work in pairs or in groups to reconstruct the text as much as they can, of course, using these key structure or key grammar they wrote while listening. After they finish, we can compare the text and what they have already written. Okay, again, I have to read a short text. It can be once or twice. Students just listen and write down the keywords and key phrases. After that, they work in pairs or in groups. Of course, now they have different key phrases. So I write, for example, 3 key phrases. My friend write other 3 or other 4, and another one write different phrases. So we will work together to collect these phrases together and reconstruct a text together. And after that, we compare which one is able more to reconstruct the text. Okay, and of course this text includes the grammar structure, the target grammar structure or grammar item. Okay, so these activities are controlled grammar practice activities. It's all about the teacher. So the teacher here controlled the activity. Okay, why? Because the aim here is accuracy, and I want my students to improve their accuracy and master the form. Okay, so let's say them again. Repeat in the manner of the word repetition, but in different ways. Disappearing dialogue, practicing speaking, but the dialogue is written and it's supposed not to change the dialogue. Number 3, running dictation. It's supposed to read and tell my friends in the group what I have read and write them. Dictogloss, to listen, write, and together reconstruct a text. Okay, so these are examples of controlled activities. The aim of these activities is accuracy. I want to focus on the form. Okay, okay, so what do you think about these activities? Which one do you like best? Or which one you feel that I can try with my students in the classroom?
Disappearing dialogue and running dictation.
Okay, Raghda, disappearing and running dictation. Disappearing
and
dialogue.
for the young learners, I think the first one is very effective with the young learners.
Yes, exactly, I agree, yes. To repeat in different ways, it will be funny. To make that
It will be funny for the grades,
young
the
learner.
early grades.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think? Which activity do you feel? Okay, which activity do you feel that, which one do you think you can try it in your classroom? Noha said number 1. Yeah, it's suitable for young learners, yes. Okay, so this is for controlled activity. If I want to,
The second is very
sorry, Raghda. The second is,
I said that the second one is very enjoyable, like the most.
will be enjoyable, yes.
The second, the disappearing dialogue.
Yes.
Yes,
Disappearing
for
dialogue.
the higher grades.
Yeah, you can do that with higher grade. You can do that with the early grades, simple dialogue. Because they have already dialogue in each unit. In each unit, we have, in the first lesson, we have a dialogue. So you can use this dialogue to practice disappearing dialogue. Okay, let's move to the second type. Can you remember the second type? The first type is controlled. The second type is?
The students are having a problem question, exactly with the dialogue question. So I think it will help them. Ms. Hannah, can you hear me?
Yes, but I didn't get your point, Raghda. Can you say that again?
I'm talking about the second activity. It has the both aims, or
Yes.
it will help us in students are always have a problem with the dialect question in the exam, so they are frightened with this question.
Yes,
Exactly. So this will help them to practice, have more practice or have intensive practice through this activity.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and you can make it easy or difficult according to your students' level. You can use simple dialogue, short dialogue,
yes,
with young learners, and you can make it more difficult with
and we can make it concentrated or with the key structure itself.
yeah, exactly. It's supposed to have,
you can make the conversation it's
I think
example the best continuous
exactly.
or about the present perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
Grammar.
Yes, the dialogue itself that I use as a teacher is supposed to include the target grammar item or structure that I'm dealing with. For example, yeah, if I want to do activities about the present perfect, and I want to improve students' accuracy, so I have to include the present perfect sentences in the dialogue. So it's not practicing for practicing. It's suppose the dialogue here has the grammar structure I want to practice. And here, repeat in the manner of the word. Suppose the sentences students repeat has the target grammar structure. Yes, this is a point. Yes, exactly. And here in, here in the running dictation and dicta class, the text has a grammar structure or the grammar item I'm practicing with my students. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So this is for the first type of activities, controlled activities. Let's move to the second type. Okay. Which is, remember?
Guided practice activity.
Exactly, guided practice activity. Okay, here when I decided to have guided practice activity, is it about the form?
No, the meaning.
No, it's not about the form. So here, I'm sure that my students don't have a problem with the form. So if my students don't have a problem with the form, so it won't be useful to do controlled activities. So they have, they can write sentences with the correct form. for example, present perfect. So it's not a good idea to do controlled activity. It's supposed to move to guided activity.